Here's the foofs waiting outside my bedroom door. Foofy, you're never on camera anymore. A vision of the past is hanging up. A little corner of it complete. Such a pretty canvas. And my room is waiting for me and Self-Care Sunday. It's really important that I have my room ready to go in the morning. I get everything ready the night before that I would need. And there's Mark Nepo. I'm actually sitting on two of my yoga bolsters. That's why there's that little corner of, it looks like it's really messy, but trust me, I know where everything is. And I sit on two yoga bolsters because of all the yoga poses that are a challenge for me. It would be malasana, and that is where you squat down and your knees are open and your toes are pointing outward, but the heels of your feet need to touch the floor. And I can't do that. I'm always up on my toes. So I decided to practice this posture while I am diamond painting. And so I need to come up like that high because my hips are tight, probably from sitting for too long. And I have two yoga blankets that I fold, and I sit on top of those also too. Now I have to fix those, but it's part of my self-care for sure to work on something that is challenging. And it helps. I mean, the first few days that I did was sitting like that. Now, you're not sitting in a yoga pose for as long as I'm sitting, like an hour. But I feel it, and it stretches the inner thighs, and it releases the hips. And I'm going to try and use this new tripod here. We'll see how it goes. But I just want to let you guys know that it's the next day. Let's turn him around. It is the next day. I can diamond paint from here sometimes on my sofa, but I'd rather practice my yoga posture. And I'm going to get myself set up. We're going to go quiet, and I'm going to do my reading as I diamond paint. So you got a little peek at what goes on. My creative process is to always make sure that my desk is ready in the morning, and how I am sitting. I'm actually up on my bolsters, getting my little practice in while I paint. But I wanted to say that I got an email from Tracy yesterday, and she said, guess what I got? And I was like, oh, I love the new cover because it looks so new. I'm like, mine's is falling apart. Mine's is falling apart. And someone told me that Barnes & Noble, if you have a beloved book, that they will bind it for you. And I can't find that information anywhere. So I'm going to try and find someone that will rebind this for me. I could probably do it myself, but I just wanted to take on another project right now. But it's not where the pages are coming out, but this is a beloved book. And okay, so I just wanted to get that in there. And then I'm going to point you guys down to the canvas, and I'm going to diamond paint, and then I'm going to, do a voiceover for the reading. Here we go. Well, guys, it's now a half an hour since I put this on pause, because as I was getting ready to diamond paint, the DJ made another appearance next door to me. And, you know, to say that I'm frazzled is not even an accurate description. You know, I created an art room for myself, and it seems that I can't get in it because I don't really know who it is. I keep saying it's the kid, but it might be one of my neighbors, either the mother or the father, because they're both retired now. I don't know if they're going through a second childhood. I don't know what's going on, but you know, the music is so loud that I cannot concentrate, and it takes a lot to get myself together to do this and to center myself and get ready, and then to be disrupted and then have to move back downstairs after I got everything ready the day before. It's so unsettling. It just is. And it's like, not, you know, I've certainly taught yoga classes where all of a sudden construction starts, and it's like there's nothing you can do about that either. But, you learn to live with the distraction, and not that you learn to live. I mean, our life is a series of distractions, but you teach that, like, you're going to have moments like this where you're distracted, and how do you keep finding your center? Well, I don't even think that I'm that upset for myself. I'm upset for the people that tune in for this, and this is supposed to be a meditative process that you guys all look forward to, and to have it disrupted by someone's music playing in the background. Like, I can't get past that. You guys don't want to hear this this music that just goes through. I couldn't even concentrate. That's pounding through your head. So I don't know what the option is going to be. Either I rent a space for myself and that's where I go during the day, where I just take everything out of this house and rent myself a space nearby where I could just have a studio, or moving back into my own home. That's the only other option I could think of, because I didn't have to deal with this in my home, which is only like blocks away from John. But I didn't have this disruption with neighbors. It's like enough that our backyard is open, and like our backyard is not closed off. It's not sectioned where you have privacy. It's all open, and that's the way the neighbors like it. They like having this open kind of, and it's fine. It's fine if you have neighbors that also understand boundaries too. Then it's fine. But, it seems like every time, I'm entertaining or I'm out in the yard, it's like, my one neighbors, they come out, they're social like we are, but there were times that it's just not appropriate, Like, John made me a beautiful dinner, and we were out in the yard, and we were just, we wanted, I went and had this structure constructed outside, where I'm going to freak out if I have to go up the steps. I had a structure made outside, and it was a tent, and we wanted to dine our first night al fresco outside, and so John made this beautiful dinner. I'm outside. I'm having a glass of wine. It's like they see you outside. So it's like, oh, let's go outside. John and Elisa are outside. So, I made it very clear. I'm like, well, John's making me dinner. We were celebrating something. It was in the summer. I can't imagine what it was, but we were celebrating something. And, it's like, well, when you see like John come out with a dinner, like, that's your cue to go. I have a glass of wine in my hand. He's got hot plates in his hand. John likes to eat immediately. He doesn't like to wait. He likes to eat immediately, and he's eating, and I'm trying to be nice about it. It's like, get a clue. And then John just picked his plate up and he went inside. I'm like, well, then we're going to have to build a structure. That's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to build a structure where we have privacy. And, they got wind that we wanted to build a structure, and it was like, well, I'm the, the infiltrator, because I'm not from the neighborhood. I, at the time, was the girlfriend, and they were like, well, we like the yards all open. We we walk across each other's, we visit each other that way. And I'm like, oh, then it made me feel like I was being antisocial or whatever. I don't know, but now I have it in my house, where I can't even sit down and concentrate. And I was getting ready to say, oh, I just told John that, you can make noise if you have to, because I'm going to go silent anyway. And I'm going to be, the volume will be off, and I'm going to be doing a voiceover anyway. And he was like, okay. And then all of a sudden I went in his room, because he's doing his studio, and I said, I said, I'm really really anxious this morning. He's like, what's going on? I'm like, I think it was like, sitting with my friend Mark last night who lost his mother. And, Mark and I have been friends since I was 16 years old. So, his mom, it's very, very, very big part of my life because I dated Mark's brother at one time. And so I was very close to his mother too, so it was just very upsetting to be sitting with them yesterday. And my friend Mark was very, very, very close to his mother, very close, and he's having a really difficult time because he lived with her and he took care of her, and a big part of his time in his life were taking care of his mother. So I was having a hard time settling down, and and then I went in my room, I got myself settled down, and the music comes on, and I'm like, I think today what I'm going to do with the reading is just open the book up because and just see what comes up, because usually when I don't know what to do about a situation, I will sit here and I will thumb through this book and I will open it up to something that will just jump out at me. But I was showing you my book earlier, and there are so many things that are bookmarked that it's like it just opens to something that I have bookmarked. Is that a piece of my hair that I'm dragging around me? Yeah, I just took it off my sweater. So I need to keep one of these free so that I could use it as a lid to John was working with this yesterday, but I just put the other tray in the other room. Oh my God, it doesn't take much to disorient me. And so like now I'm like so disoriented with this whole situation. I just don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like I said, they're both retired now and they're both home, and the music sounds more like her, which, you can't do anything. Like if I were to build a fence outside, that's one thing, but they have a pool that's above ground, and they go out there and they smoke, which that doesn't, I used to be a smoker, so it doesn't bother me, but but she'll go out there and the music's blaring all day long because they're in and out of the pool, and so we leave them alone with that. We don't go out in the yard. We don't, it's like, okay, you're out in the yard, you're doing your thing with your friends and whatever. We won't interfere. Do I have two different colors in here? I certainly do. This is 3799, so I know what color that is. It's the gray. But now it's like in my house, and like my nerves are just frazzled. Like I don't know what to do. Like I go in that room to read, can't read. I can't go in my room because my room is the next room, our bedroom, I mean, because it's the next room over, and so you hear it in there too. And I come downstairs and you could still hear like a residual of it. Like my house is not structured this way. I don't hear my neighbors in my house, which is our house, but it's, I just don't know what the answer is here, because I'm a person that likes to be quiet. I like my quiet, and just having a hard time with this situation right now. I think, did I take one more out here? Maybe get these little clovers done, and then hopefully I've rambled on enough that I settled myself down that I could just diamond paint quietly and get myself resettled again. And it's funny because yesterday we went upstairs, we went to bed, and like we have a TV in our bedroom. And John, I was like, John, you're going to have to, I know that you're opposed to wearing your hearing aids, but you're going to have to wear them at night. Like people are sleeping next door, and, we can hear through the walls, and that's where their bedroom is. And I'm sure, if they're resting or whatever, we kind of get up at different intervals during the night, John and I. It takes us both a while, I think, to settle down. And, we'll get up like if they're sleeping for a couple hours, and we'll go into a conversation, and then he needs to put the TV on to settle down. And I'm like, you have to put your hearing aids on. You can't have this TV on. People are sleeping next door. It's disruptive. Or, you know, the only other thing I could think of is like, I'm just going to have to, you know, diamond paint and then do voiceovers. But like, that's not my process. You know, usually while I'm diamond painting, I'm telling you guys what I'm thinking about and what's going on and like what I'm working on, and like all that gets like, I don't know. And it's like at any time the music could come on. At any time the music could come on. So John's like, well, maybe you do your work, you know, at nighttime. I'm like, no, I'm not doing my work at nighttime. At nighttime, I don't, like, you know, I like to do my work when I have like, what number is this? When I am fresh in the morning, you know, I have my coffee and you know, I'm not stuttering over my words, and like, you know, I'm a little bit more on the ball. At nighttime, it's like, it's the end of your battery. You're just like, oh gosh, can't diamond paint at night. Oh, here, it's actually this one here. Could have just picked you up from there. Here we go. Come on, guy. Why are you getting stuck on my putty? Probably because I didn't... Oh, what's going on here? Oh, there's a piece of plastic on there. How is there a piece of plastic that I didn't get off this? Now I have to look for things down here. Oh, here we go, right here. Right. This is where I keep all the tweezers because I don't use them. All right. Oh, wow. Are you a piece of plastic? Yeah, you are. Piece of plastic that didn't come off. That's weird. All right, here, just give me one. Any one. You go there, and then I saw another one that I missed. Usually I don't miss my white ones because it's like all you're focusing on is the white ones, but I think I'm going to come in here now and start to gravitate over. And then I think I'm just going to get quiet because my heart's pounding right now. Well, I'm hoping that I actually went quiet and stayed quiet. This is a voiceover right now. Usually what I do is I lower the volume, but things did get eerily quiet when I said I was just going to be quiet. And I kind of found myself settling down because of the white noise in the background, you know, and the little like stickiness of the putty and the drills going down. I'm actually using a new tripod, and as I'm looking at this back on the edit, I believe that this was now filmed with my back camera. I feel like there's just so much more definition to this video. I don't know. I think that a lot of things now, when it's really interesting if we can only just hit a playback button on our life, because being in the moment of what up to this point, the past me, looking at the past me and how frazzled I was, and you know, part of me is like, God, you were really frazzled over music. But it was more than that. I was leading you guys into my own creative process. And I kind of, which I never do, well, that was kind of spur of the moment this morning when I was like, you know, I'm going to show them what I do to create my day. And, you know, it starts with the night before, you know, getting things ready. That helps me center myself in the morning. For anyone that, you know, lays their clothes out the night before and gets their briefcase and book bags ready, and like, you know how that morning goes, how it just flows. And then, you know, the morning when, you know, you're not prepared. And so I make sure that I'm prepared in the morning. And I wanted to show you a little bit of how I do that, and then to just be like you're going to hear me say, I believe at some point, where or maybe I said it already, where, you know, I would be teaching a yoga class, and then all of a sudden, you know, it was along the avenue, or I think I've taken you guys a walk down the avenue, and you know, they were doing construction next door, and it was like, as soon as my, you know, I get my students to settle down. I think that particular morning I had to start them in Shavasana because they were so rowdy. I was like, all right, everybody lay down. And then I got them all nice and calm. Like, you could see the room, they all start to breathe together, and then a jackhammer went off. And it's just like that. There's a lesson there. But I think I get more upset. Like, John just came in and I stopped what I was doing, and I'm like, I'm sorry. He's like, no, don't apologize, because I totally get it. Like, your values are being disrupted, and you know, you're doing this for your channel, and it means so much to you, and everyone means so much to you. I get it. Like, don't apologize, but we're gonna have to figure out a way where, when this happens, like, where you can just like step away and take a breath. When he's right. So if I ever needed this angel, as I look at him, it was so relaxing, even being with this diamond painting. And it was also interesting, like I showed you guys, vision of the past coming in the door. And then when I closed the door, Chosen was behind the door. And I'm like, oh, Chosen, I think I'll take you back out on Monday. I used to take you out for Remember Monday, but I think I'm going to take you out and diamond paint you tomorrow. And then there's, you know, John and I did Women in Gold. So that's also what I wanted to tell you guys. This video was supposed to be the back end of Drillin and Chillin with John. I'm like, you know, I think I'm going to leave Drillin and Chillin until I do Self-Care Sunday and marry them together. But this is absolutely going to be separate, because I think at some point I'm like, it's the next day. I think I said that, and probably thinking, like, what the heck is she talking about? It's still Sunday. So I have a lot of open diamond paintings that I'm working on at the same time, and that's just so not out of character. I was doing that before, and then it left me at the end of 2024 with a lot of open diamond paintings, and that's what I was thinking when I closed the door. And I'm like, oh, Chosen, and I'm like, you know, I should have made February, finish February, finishes of February, or something like that. Some kind of play on the words finish in February, and do all my finishes that I didn't finish for 2024 with like Rico and Chosen and, well, Winter by Alphonse Mucha. I'm going to be doing that with Summer with the Masters. So I think I got a little bit in my head with like, oh, you have this angel open, and he was supposed to be your February canvas, and now you started Vision of the Past because that's going to be your masterclass, but you didn't wait until the angel was finished. And then you have Chosen, that you dug her out, and then you have Women in Gold, which is your Throwback Thursday. And believe it or not, I'm keeping it all straight. So I did the quiet. I was diamond painting quietly, and then I happened to look over, and I'm like, oh, we're already at 39 minutes, and I don't even know what I'm reading. So maybe I'll stop, and maybe I'll open up the book, and wherever it opens, that's what I'm going to read. Well, it opened up to February 24th, and I don't know what I was talking about. I don't know what Bassby was talking about, but I was like, oh my God, do you believe this? Like, when feeling urgent, you must slow down. Well, I was feeling urgent that I had to get my diamond painting done, and I didn't know how to slow down. My heart was beating out of my chest because we have other things. Like right now, I don't know if you can hear it, but I am in John's studio, because his studio is soundproof. And now I'm thinking, like, maybe I got to put this funny foam on my walls, and then it's not going to look like an art room. It's going to look like a studio. But he was like, you can go in my studio if you want, but that depends on when he's not in his studio. It's not like he's working, he's retired. So I don't know. I discussed it a little bit more, but I was quiet up until like the 39-minute mark. I know I made a mental note of it because I said, all right, maybe I should just open this book up and see where we are. And I think today is February 22nd, and February 22nd is Opposing Voices. Let the opposing voices in your head speak. They are only finding their part in a larger yet to be heard song. Kind of like this video, right? You know, I was just talking about if we could only hit a playback button and go back and rewind and look at what our past self was doing and where we're at now and where we're going, right? So it's all larger, it's all part of a larger picture. But when what it opened up to was February 24th, behind the urgency. When feeling urgent, you must slow down. And I kept going back and forth. I'm actually talking to you guys at this point at 39 minutes. The silence stops and the voiceover is going to stop. But I was actually telling you guys, I think I'm going to read February 24th because it does feel more urgent to me that I read that. It's like smacking me in the face at this point. And what I'll do is I will still read February 22nd, which is Opposing Voices. Because there's some, I believe there's a message in every one of Mark Nepo's readings. And if you don't know, I'm just taking for granted that you do, that I'm reading from the Book of Awakening, Mark Nepo. Let the opposing voices in your head speak. They are only finding their part in a larger yet to be heard song. Being alive is a paradox, an ongoing mix of things that on the surface don't always seem to make sense. But voicing what doesn't seem to make sense helps. It's like an orchestra tuning up to play together. We have no chance of discovering the fullness of our inner music if we don't let the players in our hearts and minds and spirits tune. Well, now I know why this was the reading of the day. I mean, and just think about it. I mean, I'm going on and on and on about this music being next door. And we're talking about a full-blown orchestra now. Often, confusion is the tension of trying to make sense of things too soon, before enough of the inner players have learned their parts. Often experience is the way that the heart and mind and spirit practice what they need to play. Isn't the trail of our relationships the time it takes for the heart to practice its part in the movement we call love? Isn't the trail of our honest questions the time it takes for the mind to practice its part in the movement we call wisdom? Isn't the trail of our changing beliefs the time it takes for the spirit to practice its part in the movement we call God? And isn't our trail of oneness those brief moments when everything comes together? Isn't this the time it takes for love and wisdom and God to bring the common place in us alive? So those were the questions posed in the reading for February 22nd. It was part of the reading. This was a very short reading too. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4 little paragraphs. And then it goes into what your homework is. I always say that at the end of every reading, Mark gives us a little homework to do. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee, and I don't know if that's going to be a good thing or not. So your homework for this one is, this is a guided thought meditation. Center yourself and bring into view an issue that carries indecision or confusion for you right now. Well, I talk about this a little bit further into the reading from February 24th that I'm going to do also. And it's like, what do I do? Do I, film all my videos in silence and then do the voiceover for all of them? Do I go to my other house and then then I'm going to be in my son's way, even though he's at work during the day? I could take the middle room that was my art room in that home and I could do my thing there, or I can rent a studio, or maybe I can work out with John where I use his studio as a place to record. But I'm also trying to help my husband start his channel, that he's going to just excel at it. I just know that he is. He's going to excel at his channel because he loves philosophy, and he's has issues that he gives. I think we need philosophy in our life right now. We need to make sense of things. And he's very good at that. He has a very objective mind. So the next point is, though it will feel initially chaotic, and it always does, like look at with the spiel I just went on, it's still feeling chaotic to me about what to do about this situation. Breathe slowly and let the opposing views of this issue bubble up uncentered. I'm trying to uncensor myself. I can't. I'm just too chaotic right now. Even after doing all my diamond painting and settling down, I'm just like so frazzled by this situation. Again, being, romanticizing how it's all going to play out. The way I see it in my brain, get up. Why don't you get up this morning and turn the camera on and show your viewers a little bit of your process? Foofy waiting outside the door, your diamond paintings waiting, hanging on the door, your diamond painting on your desk real nice, and how you set up your room, and la 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 la, like Snow White. Nothing but birds chirping outside. Take your time, breathe deeply, and let the opposing energies play themselves out. Oh boy. A guided thought meditation. So a guided thought meditation, when I go back to my practice when I was becoming a yoga teacher, I had a lot of teachers that's what they did. They were meditation teachers. And I'll actually link for you one of my teachers. He has more than a few books out. And I think he flew in from California, and we had to do a 5-hour meditation where we sat on the floor with our eyes open. Oh, and that's, and I can meditate very easily. If I sit down and close my eyes, I go into a complete state of meditation almost automatically. But sitting and with your eyes open and trying not to be distracted by what you're seeing, even though no one's moving, you still notice a lot of things that you wouldn't actually notice, and they can be distracting. So thought meditation just reminds me of that type of meditation where you've got the thoughts in your mind that are coming up and you're trying not to dive into them. And seeing them as clouds never worked for me. Or trying to see it as a movie never worked for me. I have that monkey mind that's sitting with the symbols in his hands and drinking espresso. So I am going to do this exercise. So the next point is, take your time, breathe deeply, and let the opposing energies play themselves out. Rather than struggle to understand how these things go together, I hope that I come to that conclusion that they're actually going to go together. And anybody want to jump in and comment and give me a little help, please do. Breathe steadily, and as if each energy is an instrument, feel the duet they are trying to play in you. Right now, the words breathe deeply are staring back at me on the page, and the Spirit is telling me, why don't you right now just teach your subscribers how to breathe deeply and how to center themselves. So get comfortable. You can continue to diamond paint if you like, but relax your shoulders down, move them away from your ears. They're like annoying little sisters that like to follow their ears. You're your ears, and they're like little annoying siblings that like to follow you around. Relax them down away from your ears. Notice how you're breathing currently. But then allow yourself to take a breath in through your nose. Close your mouth. Eyes open or closed, it's up to you. And then breathe in slowly through your nose and drag that breath a little bit. This is a warrior breath. So breathe in through your nose. It's almost like sucking up liquid through a straw, but you're breathing it, you're using your nose as the straw, so you can hear that breath that I'm making. I'm dragging the breath into my nose very, very slowly, and notice what is filling up in your head. Is it your chest or is it your belly? And so now John opened up the door and I have Foofy with me. So breathing in through your nose, we're just getting that in breath in. And breathe out through the mouth. So when you have that in breath, where you're breathing in and you're dragging that breath, and your belly is expanding, not your chest. Your belly, your chest is anxiety, your belly is relaxation. Let your belly get big like a balloon. We're going to do the out breath. We're going to breathe in. And then we're going to drag that breath out through the nose. This is your Ujjayi breath, your victorious breath, your warrior breath. Breathe in. Breathe out through the nose. And I'm realizing now why the words breathe deeply, why Spirit was guiding me to tell you that. And you'll realize it later in the second reading. This dragging the breath in and out of the nose, it's a Darth Vader type of breath, is it's very calming to the nervous system because it sounds like the ocean. And the throat play a part in this also. And the throat, the bridge between the heart and the head are going to come up in that second reading. So if you're following along with this little meditation, this thought meditation that Mark gives us at the end of this chapter, the last point on this, rather than struggle to understand how these things go together, breathe steadily, and as if each energy is an instrument, feel the duet they are trying to play in you. Enter your day humming that tune. There's like a few, maybe like a minute and a half of me diamond painting. So I'm going to go quiet because maybe you are practicing this. I'm going to go quiet now for the rest of it, and then it'll start to talk again in about a minute and a half. Hello. This is future me hoping that I've calmed down. I don't know where I'm at. I stopped this at 39 minutes so that when I do the voiceover, I'll know that I'm coming in for a break. I think I calmed down. Usually what I do is I turn the volume off, but it is so quiet in here. I think I scared my husband out of the house. He crept down the steps and he went out the door, because he doesn't know what to do when I'm like frazzled like this. So I thought, let me take a break. And I think I know what today's reading is. And I'm kind of tempted to say, well, let's just go to February 22nd. And I was just saying, like, I'll just open this book and see what happens. And I opened up to when feeling urgent, you must slow down. I don't know, maybe I'll do 2 readings today. But February 22nd is opposing voices. Let the opposing voices in your head speak. They are only finding their part in a larger yet to be heard song. All the world's a stage and we're the characters. So, yes. I think what I'll do is oh God, there's so many bookmarks in this book. Oh my God, is today the 22nd? I don't even know. I have this bookmarked here. Okay. I think I'm going to go back. I'm going to do the feeling urgent. I think I'm going to read this now because it's just hitting me in the face. And then I'm going to go do a little bit more diamond painting. And then I was going to make this a part of John's, what was it? Drillin and Chillin with John. But I think I'm going to separate the two now. And maybe I'll put Drillin and Chillin with John in my members first. And then post it during the week for subscribers. And then I think what I'm going to do is just keep Self-Care Sunday on its own. And read this one. So behind the urgency. I think I need this right now. While it's quiet in my South Philly row home. My gosh. Okay. I learned this over and over. When feeling urgent, you must slow down. I learned this over and over during the many crises of cancer. Unless someone is bleeding or can't breathe, unless there is some true physical requirement to act swiftly, a sense of urgency is a terrible illusion, a trick that happens again and again, because life inside our skin and outside our skin are forever different. It is as hard as it is humbling. When feeling like I can't sit still, I need more than ever to sit still. And that's why I stopped talking. I was like, my heart is racing right now. I feel like I'm going to jump out of my skin. Life inside our skin and outside our skin are forever different. I felt like I was going to jump out of my skin because I can't. For a person that lets things just, I don't have any plans. I let things unfold as they will, you know. I keep telling myself everything I need is right in front of me, you know, all that. And I can't control someone's music or when they listen to it, or, you know, to be, you know, aware that you might be disturbing someone, especially like on a Sunday morning. Like, people look forward to a Sunday morning. They're maybe in bed reading the paper, having a cup of coffee. And when like John ran out this morning to the corner, and we have a Dunkin' Donuts, and he got a cup of coffee, and we were talking, and he was telling me what he was going to do today. And we're going out later for like a jazz. A friend of his is a jazz musician, and he's playing at a place that we go to all the time. And they're trying to do like this speakeasy kind of a thing. And he's like, you know, you should put your speakeasy outfit on. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that today. You can't hit me with this at 9 o'clock in the morning, even if you have a cup of coffee in your hand. But, you know, and then getting ready for, you know, Self-Care Sunday, and like just being like, I can't control this. Oh, when I feel like I can't sit still, I need more than ever to sit still. When feeling like I will die if I don't have your approval, I need more than ever to die to my need for your approval. What we need is always harshly and beautifully right before us, disguised in a wrapping of our nearest urgency. We just refuse to accept this because it feels so difficult to face. The doorway to our next step of growth is always behind the urgency of now. Now more than ever, when all feels urgent, you must cut the strings to all events. Now more than ever, when the weight you carry seems tied to your wrist, you must not run or flail. It's interesting because I talked about the movie that I watched the other day. Was it Ricky and the Flash? Yeah, with Meryl Streep. And even though I was like so against her in this role, because I didn't know what female rock star are you trying to emulate here? You know, I mean, I'm sure that when you have to play a part, you do your research. And I couldn't get like a tap on, like it was kind of like a Melissa Etheridge. But like, who else? Who are you trying to channel for this part? Because you're not an aging rock star that gave up your Kevin Kline. He was her husband, and he was affluent, and he was living. They were living in an affluent community, very rich, and you didn't just walk away to like 2 kids, an affluent husband, a beautiful home, had a grounding and stability, no uncertainty, where her life was the total opposite of that. What kept me tied to the movie was that her daughter, who didn't have her at her wedding because she couldn't make the wedding, maybe because of a gig or whatever, it wasn't really clear, but her daughter is now back with her father because she's going through a divorce. Her husband came home one day and he said, I'm in love with somebody else and I'm divorcing you. And her whole world falls apart. And so the daughter's not getting washed. She's angry. And then Kevin Kline calls Meryl Streep to say, this is what's going on. And you need to get on a plane and you need to get here. But he doesn't say that. So let me edit that part out. The daughter tried to harm herself. And this is where I think Meryl Streep gets like a wake-up call of like, she doesn't change her life in any way. She's living her life. This is her dream. She had no right involving other people that weren't attached to that dream with her also, and then have children too. That's what I took away from the story. But her daughter can't face anything without falling apart. And so they're out for ice cream and they're walking, Meryl Streep, Kevin Kline, and the daughter. And they finally got her out of the house. Meryl Streep gets her to get her hair done, get her nails done, and put makeup on, put nice clothes on, because she's walking around in pajamas throughout the whole movie. And they're out for ice cream. And what happens? Everything that's happening, they're walking down the street and she recognizes the car of the girl that her husband, soon to be ex-husband, is with. And on the back of the van, and Meryl Streep was like, how do you know that this is her van? And she's like, I know, because she's got herself and her 2 kids and the dog on the back of the windshield. You know how they do? So like her name was like, I don't know, whatever, Nicole, I think it was Nicole, and the 2 kids' names and the dog. And then she added her not even her ex-husband, she added a man, and it said Max, which was her ex-husband to be. And she is just having a total melt. Like they were just having this perfect moment. Mom and dad are together, even though they're divorced, and dad is remarried, and the stepmother is taking care of her father, who has Alzheimer's, but she's been the grounding force in these kids' lives. And so now you have your mom and you have your dad together, and they're not angry with each other. They're there for their daughter. And then this moment happens where the daughter is, all this, getting her off the couch, getting her in clothes, getting her to wash her face, put some makeup on, do your hair, do your nails, start to feel like yourself again. And she's confronted with this van And she's like, I can't believe it. Like, we're not even divorced yet. Like, he just told me that he wants to divorce me. And like, your image is already on the back of a van with her and her 2 kids and her dog. And she's walking up and down this very beautiful street looking for, like, where are they? What restaurant are they in? And she finds them. And she wants to go in. Now, you know what's going to happen. You're not going to allow your daughter to go in and make a scene in front of all these people. No, instead the parents go in, which I just loved, because you saw the daughter. My heart's going to break. You saw the daughter looking at her parents confront him like, you've destroyed my daughter. And like, I really do think that when you break that vow, you have a responsibility. You're breaking a vow. You have a responsibility to that other person. You just can't walk away and go live your life. You have to make sure, I believe, that they are okay. And then, if they accept that from you is one thing, and if they don't, but you are pulling the rug out from someone. You're pulling their stability away from them. They're blindsided, maybe they're not, but maybe they are. And it seemed to be that this girl was blindsided, and you have a responsibility to them. You just don't walk away. And pretty much, you see Kevin Kline, and then the girlfriend now steps in, and that's where now Meryl Streep steps in at. She's like, you went and put my daughter's husband on the car next to your dog. And she's like, good for you. I can't remember what the girlfriend said, because she was really nasty. And she's like, well, he loves me, and he doesn't love your daughter. He loves me and my kids, and yet my dog. She's like, great, now you have 2. Now you have 2 dogs. And they walk out, and you see the daughter, like, probably, I can only imagine that, she didn't have to do this on her own. I had a lot of angry people when I decided to get divorced, and it's still not clear to me why my family knew the kind of marriage that I had. They knew that it was basically just a work relationship. We were partners in businesses and stuff, and that's like really about the extent of our marriage. And so I was grieving my father, and I really wasn't dealing with. I didn't want to tell my family. My dad just died. I left my marriage on the day after the wake when I got home, and I didn't know I was going to do that, but I did. And I was grieving my dad. Maybe it was a reaction to grieving my dad. I don't know, but I knew that this was like the last time that we were going to be separated, and this was untouchable at this point. And my family reacted in a way that, like, how dare I? And so I didn't tell them. They found out. I don't know who they found out from. Maybe my ex-husband, maybe my son. I don't know. But it was my choice to deal with my father's death first. That was the urgency, and not deal with the way that I would have wanted to deal with things, and be like, listen, I know that this is going to upset a lot of people, but I've gotten to the point that, my dad said something to me when I talked to him last, before he went in the hospital, and he just didn't wake up. And he said to me, Elisa, every time I look at you, you look so sad. And I'm like, because I am, Dad. Like, I wear everything on my sleeve. I think I have a poker face. I don't. And I said, because I am, Dad. And he said, don't waste another minute of your life being sad. Because he knew. But I had to face everything on my own until John stepped in, and he was just like, no one's ever going to treat you like that again, ever, not with me around. And so I kind of got that feeling when I saw her parents go into the restaurant, and they were protecting her. Where was I going with this? Okay, so when the weight seems tied to your wrist, you must not run or flail. That's where I was going with this. So her brother is getting married now. This is very difficult for anyone that's going through a divorce, and your partner has left you. And now you have to walk down an aisle, and all, you know, every time me and John go to a wedding, or we even watch a wedding on TV, we're like crying like two little babies because we remember that moment. And she's walking down that aisle, and I'm sure she's remembering her own wedding. And as she's walking down the aisle, she stops. And you could see the panic on her, but she stops right where, for as mad as she was at her mother for abandoning them, because she did abandon them. Meryl Streep says to her, walk on. Walk on. You can do this. Walk on. She's telling her while she's stopped at the aisle. Walk on. And she does. And that's, you know, more than ever, when weight you carry seems tied to your wrist, you must run. You must not run or flail. Now more than ever, when each decision feels like the end, you must believe that each question is a beginning. Well, that's me. Holy cow. Each question is a beginning. I'm never satisfied with the answer. There's always another question. Now more than ever, when you fear that being who you are is a knife to those you love. Now more than ever, when you fear that being who you are is a knife to those you love, you must be strong inside where no one has seen you. For loving from there can only make those you love grow. Okay, I needed a second there with that one. That hit me like, can't even say it. That went through me like an arrow, because, let me just go back to it. Oh, I lost my page. Hold on a second. Did I put was I smart enough to put oh no, I think I put my cuticle clippers in there and I ran, because it just hit me like a bullet and I needed it. It hit me like an arrow. I don't know that you can say, you know, bullet. I don't know anymore. I don't know what you can and cannot say anymore. But now more than ever, when you fear that being who you are is a knife to those you love, you must be strong inside where no one has seen you, for loving from there can only make those you love grow. Well, I had to stop there for a second, because, you know, it was more than just leaving a marriage. It was more of it was me being who I was. And I think I talked about this in a previous Self-Care Sunday, where, like, you know, how many incarnations can you have? I went through many trying to save a marriage that was, at from what I can tell, was unsavable, until I finally decided that I just have to be who I am. And then, you know, I just was being myself, and just, you know, it's like just such a breath of fresh air when you're finally like living in your own skin. And, you know, I'm sorry that everyone got hurt by my actions of wanting to take my life back, but there was no other way for me. You know, that was it. That was it. And like I said, they were upset, you know. I've never heard it expressed that way, that, you know, when being who you are is like a knife to everyone around you. And it really was. Being who I was like a knife to everyone. Like, they were just so angry with me that I was, you know, not going to just, you know, keep going down this road of being with someone after all this time. Like, I mean, you've seen the way I am with the trays, right? I'm trying every which way to make those art dot trays work, but it's impossible. And that's pretty much the way my marriage was. I tried every which way to make that work at my ex-marriage. And where are these little pieces of plastic on here that didn't come up? I tried every which way to make that work. And I just, it was like, that's it. And the way that I was like, get this, I got the tray finally and threw it across the room. I was like, get this out, get this away from me, because I can't deal with it anymore. Pretty much, you know, coming to think about it, that's day my father, day I buried my father, I was pretty much like, you know, he, he wasn't with me the whole time. I was like, that's it, I'm done. Yeah. Okay, now more than ever, when you fear that being who you are is a knife to those you love, you must be strong inside when where no one has seen you, for loving from there can only make those you love grow. Now more than ever, when feeling that you are the source and recipient of all pain, you must bow your head till the ancient channel from sky to heart can reopen. So, you must bow your head till the ancient channel from sky to heart can open. Well, that's the head and the heart. And I believe that the bridge to those, if you think about your head, the top of your head, and if you place your hand on your head and you place a hand on your heart, that bridge in the middle is your throat. And what comes from your throat? Your voice. And what comes out of your voice? That depends. You want to tell the truth? Or do you want to keep living a lie? And I had this saying from when I was a kid. Why am I working with that one? My aunt, once, we were I think we were at her house New Year's Day, and there was a lot of family. And I really was not eating, we were coming from this big parade, like kind of like the parade like you guys saw with the Eagles. And I went over to go get myself a cup of coffee, and I don't know what it was with my uncle. I don't know. But he accused me of doing something, like moving something on the counter. I said, Uncle Nick, I didn't do that. And my aunt said, wasn't even in the kitchen, said, don't you lie. You moved that. Now I was not eating ever. That's where all the food was. And all I did was go get myself a cup of coffee. And I was like, yeah, Mary, I don't lie, because the truth loves me. And I've been saying that since I was a kid. I don't know if I picked it up from some kind of TV show. Who knows? At one point I told you guys I was speaking French to my mother, I said, the truth loves me. And the truth, the truth is my friend. That's something that I was always very aware of as a kid, how important truth was. I don't know, maybe that's why I was such a loner as a kid. I couldn't just go along. But that bridged to the heart to the head. The mind and the heart are in constant battles with each other. You know what you should do, but then they have that saying, the heart wants what the heart wants, but the head knows better. Sometimes, maybe. But there's the bridge right there. What else does Mark have to say about this reading that just has overwhelmed me? When feeling that you are the source and recipient of all pain, you must bow your head till the ancient channel from the sky to the heart can reopen. Till you remember that you are a blessed piece of spirit dust and spirit wind. Now more than ever, you must breathe till your ounce of breath becomes the sky again and again. In this way, pray to know your place in the human family like you've never known it. In this way, pray to have your true self inch through your turmoil. Well, that's true. You have to drop the story. Got to get real with yourself. Again, going back to the art dot trays, who knew that they were going to be such a metaphor for this reading? But I said, I romanced in my head how this setup was going to go. I told myself a story, how it was going to look, how this setup, how this kit up was going to go. And, you know, once I dropped the story and got true, it took me a few more tries. You know, I'm Sicilian, so I got a hard head. I keep trying with those trays. I'm like, I gotta be doing something wrong here. They slide open. That's what Art Dot said. They slide open. They lied. They lied. And sometimes people lie. You know, sometimes they do. And you have to be able to get silent, and you have to be able to decipher what is real and what you're imagining and what the truth is. In this way, pray to know your place in the human family like you've never known it. In this way, pray to have your true self inch through your turmoil. In this way, love yourself the way you love the emptiness of time. Love yourself the way you love your children or your dog or your dearest friend without reservation. Why is that so? Why are we so hard on ourselves that we can't love ourselves the way that we love our children, our partner, our pets? We give all. We give all without hesitation. You know, in that hesitation, in that moment where, you know, here we get like the heart and the head, right? There's that moment of hesitation when you know what you know, what you know, your true self, your higher self, the Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it. I call it the Holy Spirit because that's the gift that was given to me, that I would have a guide always around me to, you know, the keeper of the book, the keeper of the truth, to guide me. But in that moment of hesitation, that split second, we're out of life. We're out of the reality of truth because we're questioning. All we have to do is just, whatever word you want to use, let go, surrender, offer up, give up, Jesus take the wheel. When we have that moment of hesitation, we're out of life. Where did I go with that other one? Okay, well, he's not there anymore. He'll come back. I don't feel like hunting and pecking. In this way, today, with all its hardships, will spill into tomorrow, and decisions will become as clear as streams thawing. And so if you have the book, this was from February 24th. It wasn't earmarked for anything. In fact, February 22nd was. And February 22nd, I don't know if I'm going to go back and read that over to the opposing voices. Maybe it will make sense because this does flow. This does really, oh my God. So I have something underlined on February 23rd, and this is what I mean about, I gotta look at you guys. This is what I mean about, you know everything that you need to know. There's nothing really to learn. You have it inside of you. But I underlined something. I went back a few pages, and it says, I have discovered again and again that I usually know what I need to do, but just deny it. And it is this small hesitation, this small resistance to enter what is real, that makes life feel neutral or out of reach. I just said that 10 seconds ago. When you hesitate, you know, but you still hesitate. Like, do I really know what I know? Yes, you really know what you know. Don't hesitate, because that's what's real. And it makes life feel neutral or out of reach. Okay, coming back to the painting. My cellar door. Am I back to the painting? No, here we go. Am I in the shot? This little tripod hasn't been bad. I hesitated, but, you know, hasn't been bad. But now I covered up my beautiful angel's face, so we have to get that out of the way. Okay. So where what was it? Now something else is hitting. Now there's something else above February 22nd. It's on February 22nd page, but it says, in this way, truth becomes a clean bandage that heals, keeping dirt out of the wound. To voice things as they are is the nearest medicine. And like, that's what I was just talking about. The bridge from the heart to the head is the truth, is your throat. That your throat even is shaped like a bridge, if you think about it. So, I mean, this book just unfolds like a song. I mean, I just picked up two sentences, one from February 23rd and one from February 21st. And February 21st looks heavily underlined, and has to do with like honoring your true self. So I was telling you guys that I didn't know what I was going to read earlier in the week. And these readings, again, for as long as I've had this book, it depends on me picking it up and reading the day and the meditation. But those are underlined from previous years that I actually underlined that. And they're still in me. They're still in me because they're coming up as I read this one. So, in this way, today with all its hardships will spill into tomorrow, and decisions will become as clear as streams thawing. Center yourself and feel the urgencies that pull at you. I think what I'm going to do is, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. So center yourself and feel the urgencies that pull at you. Feel the tension of each like a string stretched taut. With each breath, untie yourself one urgency at a time. However briefly, breathe freely, even for a moment, untied to any urgency at all. So that's where the reading ends. Tracy, I hope you followed along with that one. It was a good one, even though it's a day or two ahead. I will say that this did run over, and I really am not upset about that, because I'm starting to think that maybe Self-Care Sundays need to be a little bit longer than all the other things that we do. But I do have a large, like maybe a half an hour where I was just quiet, and I think what I'm going to do is go back to that and do my voiceover somehow, being that that's the past and this is now the present, and I have a whole world of information that I didn't have, that past me didn't have. I might, make you aware of that, and lead up to what this talk is. So here's our angel boy. Hopefully I can go upstairs in my room and do that voiceover, because I don't know, when John is going to be walking in the door. And I feel so bad that, I was half out of my mind with this noise like early in the morning. I'm like, I just want to sit back and enjoy my coffee. Not letting me do that. I'm sure there's another lesson in there, but I thank you. I love that you guys love Self-Care Sunday as much as I do. It's such a special time for me. And I think because also it's just Sunday. It's the Sunday kind of love, right? Sunday kind of feel that you have on a Sunday. Maybe you're running out to brunch. Maybe you're not, settled into your Sunday paper or your Sunday coffee, But I used to teach yoga early in the morning. And I had one student that used to come with a cup of coffee. I'm like, don't tell anybody, but you're my favorite. She used to come in, and my Sunday classes were just like this. I mean, they were just like this. I mean, I read from the Book of Awakening, and people held postures. They were all floor postures, and and she would come with a cup of coffee. I'm like, do you have coffee in there? She's like, yeah. Do you want me to bring you one? And I was like, no, just don't tell anybody, but you're my favorite. I love that you do. I love that you do this meditative class with a cup of coffee in your hand. And I just loved it. I just loved it. I love when people can feel comfortable enough to just, be who you are. I'm filling in still these little little things that I missed. I don't work this way. I think that's another thing that I should point out. This was very, for me, just not the way that I work. I usually fill in all the white drills first. I think I might even have a few white drills that are still open. And had I filled these in, they would have led to the next drill that I wanted to pick up. And then I would have went, I would have followed it that way. I was following, if you see, I have like 3 containers out right now. I am following this much like I would as if I had a palette of paint. So I was kind of like going this way, and I would go on the diagonal and then come back, just like a brush stroke. All ways of discovering how to diamond paint. I love this pretty little pen too. And so guys, I will see you, as I say, as always, in the next one. Please comment, and if you liked this video, please hit the like button. Leave any comment. My email is always available. That we could, you could drop me an email if you like. And tomorrow's Monday. And Monday is going to be, what am I dropping on Monday? I'm dropping the finishing, the part 2 of the whole, where'd it go? The, my members got it first, and I was so confused. I was uploading it again, and I forgot that my members had it. And so, you guys that didn't see that part 2 will see it, and I'm going to keep Drillin and Chillin with John for my members today, because I am going to see you guys at 7 tonight, if you are available. And everyone else, I'll see you Monday morning. I know I told you what it was and I forgot already. I'm going to have to review my own film, my own videotaping from yesterday, because I gave you guys a few of Tip Tuesday tips ahead of time, and I've already forgotten what they were, because once I let them out of the bag, I forget what they are. And it was during the Ivan Valakovic diamond painting that I was doing. All right, guys, I will see you as always in the next one. Keep creating that world that you want to live